Hi everyone, welcome to the world of virtualization with VMware Workstation Pro, your gateway to unparalleled flexible and efficiency in managing virtual machines. In this YouTube video, we will explore the essential key features that make VMware Workstation Pro a must-have tool for IT professionals, from robust virtualization capabilities that enable you to run multiple operating systems on a single machine to advanced networking options, VM snapshot management, and VM cloning. VMware Workstation Pro empower users to create, test, and deploy virtual environments with ease. Join me in this video as we delve into the key components that make this virtualization platform an indispensable asset for developers, system administrators, database administrators, IT professionals, and anyone seeking a reliable solution for virtual machine management. Last but not least, worth it to mention here that I will not cover the installation steps here since I covered them in separate videos. Instead, I will focus on the features, tips, and recommended configurations. With all that being said, let's jump in. As we can see here that the VMware right now is running on our machine. So the first thing we are gonna do is go to the edit menu and then click on preferences. We need to make sure that we have a consolidate location. That's all our machines that can be created there. So the default location is document. We need to change it. For me, I will create like a VMware directory, select it and choose it. So you can see here the full path. So any machine that will be created in future, it will be created under this path. So now we can close. This part is optional, but I found it as a best practice in case if you have like working on VMware with projects and something crucial, it's better to have it on your setup. So you can see here that I have already created logical volume called VMware on under a Fedora group, volume group. I give it a 60 gigabyte and then add it to the FS tab to be automatically mounted once I reboot my operating system, and give it also an extension for file system. And then I mount this logical volume under the VMware directory, which I give it as a default location to the VMware. So once you have this setup, in case something happened to your operating system, you have this directory. You can mount it to another operating system, and you are good to go to continue your work. In case if you don't have any idea what's the logical volume, what's the volume group, and those commands, I urge you to go to my YouTube channel and check the list there. I have already have a complete course, or let's say tutorial, about how to use them, how to create the logical volume, and how to manage your disks on Linux operating system. VMware Workstation Pro offers a range of networking options to cater to various needs and scenarios, allowing users to configure and manage network connectivity within virtual environments effectively. We are going to see the network editor and try to find out some of the key networking options available in VMware Workstation Pro. So to start the virtual network editor, from the VMware Workstation, go to the Edit menu, press Virtual Network Editor. It will ask you to pass the credentials. Yep. Now this is the Virtual Network Editor. We can see here that we have here 3 networking type: bridged, host only, and NAT. So the first type of networking we have here bridged. So the bridged networking, this option connects virtual machine directly to the physical network, enabling them to appear as individual devices on the network. Bridged networking allows virtual machine to have their own IP addresses on the same subnet as the host system, facilitating seamless connection with the other devices on the network. So as we can see here that the VMnet 0, which is this one, the interface. So it's this interface is assigned as a bridged. The bridged is connect VMs directly to the external network. In case if you have a router in your home and you pick the bridged That means this machine will get the IP address from the DHCP of that router, and the configuration of the network will be done automatically from that router, and it will appear on your network as a separate operating system side by side to the host. And in case if you have Ethernet and Wi-Fi, here you can pick which network you need to assign this bridged network to. And here also the automatic settings will come. So the bridged is allow you to appear as a real host on your network. The second option we have is NAT. So NAT stands for Network Address Translation. NAT networking allow virtual machines to share the host system's IP address and network connection. VMware Workstation Pro acts as a virtual router, providing network address translation services to route traffic between the virtual machines and the external network. This option is useful for scenarios where direct access to the physical network is not required or feasible. For me, I prefer to change the IP for something easy, so sometime I add it like 10.10.100, and then we come to the NAT settings and change this one as well to 10.10.100, and then save. So this will be easy for me to remember and write down than the default one. Keep in your mind that VMNet 8 is assigned to be as a NAT network type. So this will appear as an interface on your network interfaces. So if you issue IP or IPconf or fconfig, you will see this one, VMNet 8, and it will appear and show you the configuration of the IP if it's done. Once we finish from this one, I will check with you on the terminal and see the configuration that done by us, if it's okay or not. We come to the third option, or the third type of networking, which is host only. So host only networking create a private network that is isolated from the external network and accessible only to the host system and its virtual machines. This option is ideal for testing and development environments where you need to create a sandboxed network for experimentation without affecting the external network. So this option is just to connect the VMs between each other without accessing the external network. So this type of network is ideal to connect VMs between each other on the same host, and they will be isolated from the external network, and there is no internet connection will be available during this type of networking. So only for me, also I prefer to change this IP to something easier, like 10.200. Good to note that the VMNet 1 interface is assigned to host only. That means connect VMs internally in private network. So this VMNet 1 is an interface. You can see it by issuing IP command or IPconfig or fconfig commands. So we will check this one later on once we go to the terminal to make sure that our changes are done successfully by us. And then I will save all those changes. So that's it for the networking. Now let's go to the terminal and check if those changes are applied right now. So IBA, that's mean this command is IP address show VMNet 8, which is the interface for NAT. We can see that this IP address is assigned to this interface. Let's check the other one. The same as VMNet 8, the VMNet 1, which is host only, we can see here the 10.10.201 also assigned successfully for this interface. That means all our configuration is done successfully. As we can see here, we have PopOS VM created in VMware Workstation Pro. After the VM creation, we need to integrate it as guest with the host to allow features such as drag and drop files, copy and paste, 3D acceleration, and file sharing, and more. So you can achieve that by installing two pieces of software. The two pieces of softwares that are required is OpenVM Tools and OpenVM Tools Desktop. Based on your guest operating system distribution, you will check which is the suitable package manager that allow you to achieve this. For example, if you have Pop! OS, Ponto, Linux Mint, Debian, all of them are using apt or apt, so you can use apt install OpenVM Tools, OpenVM Tools Desktop. In case if you are using Red Hat, CentOS, Fedora, and Oracle Linux, all of them are using DNF install OpenVM Tools, OpenVM Tools Desktop. In case you are using Arch Linux, which is or any other distribution based on Arch Linux, you can use Pacman or yay-s capital YU and then the package that you want to install. In case you are using Windows operating system, you can come here, VM, and then install software. You need to make sure that you have a CD is connected to be able to insert the ISO, and then you can install it as executable file. Once you have OpenVM Tools installed in your VM, you can make sure that it's installed successfully by selecting the VM. For me, I have here Pop! OS. I will select Pop! OS and then go to the VM menu. And then you can see here that's reinstall VMware Tools. That means the VM Tools is installed on this guest OS. To make sure that copy paste and drag and drop features are enabled on this VM, you need to select the VM and then go to the VM menu, go to the settings, go to the options, then guest isolation. Make sure that those two options are selected, then save and exit. Enabling folder sharing between your host and guest OS in VMware Workstation is handy. All you need to select the VM you need to share directory to it from the host. For example, I have here Pop! OS, select it and then go to VM menu, settings, then go to the options, shared folders. You can see here it's disabled, so select this one, then always enabled. Here we need to add the folder that we need to share from the host to the VM. Let us name it. Then I need to pick a host path. I will select music. Then we can see here the attributes. You can select enable. Enable will come as default. Read only in case if you need this path to be as read only. The guest or the VM will not be able to write anything inside this directory. This will enhance more security for this directory. Press OK. Then save. So once we add the directory from the host to the VM, we need to make sure that this directory is mounted on the VM or the guest operating system. So the location will be as following: mnt, then like this, then music. We can see here that we have the test directory. We need to make sure that we can write a file or if we can write a file inside this directory, and check if we can see it from the host operating system. So let's echo, for example, test, and then we will write this one like this, and we will give it like test.txt. Now let's go to the file, to the folder explorer. We can see here that's added to the main host from the VM. The VMware Snapshot feature is indeed one of the most useful functionalities in VMware Workstation. Snapshots provide a powerful way to capture the state of a virtual machine at a specific point in time, allowing user to revert back to the exact state if needed. Let's check the snapshots feature and how we can use it in VMware Workstation. So we have different ways to reach the snapshot manager and to take the snapshot from the interface. The first one from here, the toolbar, we can here just click on the snapshot manager, take snapshot. or by click here, direct to take snapshot, or by selecting the VM, go to the VM menu and click take snapshot or snapshot manager, or by selecting this one, right click and go to the snapshot. You can click take snapshot and snapshot manager as well. To perform a snapshot, we can go to the snapshot manager, take snapshot, and then we will name it before delete. We will wait until the saving state finished. Worthy to mention here that VMware allowing you to take snapshot from running VM and turned off VM. We can see here that the before delete snapshot is completed right now, and the state is saved successfully. So we can right now close. So let's delete a file on the operating system, the guest operating system. But first we need to go to the etc host name. We can see this file. I will try to delete it. F to force etc host name, enter, pass the password. Now let's check again if the file is available. We can see here there's no such file or directory. That means the file is deleted. Now we can revert back before delete snapshot. Let's click here to revert back. It will ask us for confirmation. Click yes. Now let's check again etc host name. We can see here that the host name file back again to the operating system once we finish the reverting back to the previous snapshot. So we can see here the advantage of the snapshot is once we are doing something wrong on the operating system, the VM guest operating system, so we can easily revert back, but we need to make sure that we have a valid snapshot, and the best practice to have snapshot before performing anything risky on the guest operating system. If you have a VM and it contains many snapshots and you need to clean some of them, you can just click on the snapshot manager, select that snapshot and delete that snapshot. It will ask you to confirm, are you sure you want to delete snapshot? Click yes. The snapshot is removed, and that's it. It's a simple, just by click delete, this snapshot will be removed, and you can right now close this window. Let's assume that you want to test virtualization technology such as Proxmox, E6i, VMware Workstation, VMware Player, VirtualBox, or any other virtualization technology. So you can achieve that by selecting the VM and then click on Edit Virtual Machine Settings, or from VM menu go to the Settings, then select the processor, then select the Virtualize Intel VT-X or AMD-V. By saving this change, this VM right now is compatible and suitable to install any virtualization technology on top of it. Enabling 3D graphics acceleration in VMware Workstation can significantly enhance the performance and the visual quality of virtual machines, especially for tasks like gaming, multimedia editing. But before enabling 3D acceleration in VMware Workstation, you need to make sure that the suitable driver for graphic hardware is installed on the host machine, and the VMware tools is installed in guest OS as well. Then you can enable the feature by select the VM, then go to the settings. From settings, go to the display. From the display, you need to make sure that Accelerate 3D Graphic is selected, then save and exit. Then you can run this machine and you can enjoy with a good 3D graphic experience. VMware Workstation offers two ways to add more space to the VM. The first option is by expanding the current virtual disk size, and the other option is by adding a new virtual disk to the VM. To expand the virtual disk of the VM, you need first to select the VM, then edit virtual machine settings, and from here select the virtual disk that you want to expand, then expand disk. From the expand disk, you can just add the space that you want or the size you want for this virtual disk. Good to know that expand increases only the size of the virtual disk. Size of partition and file system are not affected inside the VM. So to apply those additional space or size to the operating system inside the VM, you need first to identify the operating system type and the file system used there. The second option is to add a virtual disk to the VM. So here we have a Pop! OS. We need to add additional disk to it. So we can go with Pop! OS, select it and go to the Edit Virtual Machine Settings, and from Hardware tab, go to the Add. From Add, select Hard Disk, then Next. Then here I will stick with Recommended, SCSI, Next. Then here we can create new virtual disk or use existing one. You can select it from the host operating system or by use the physical disk, and this is for advanced users. For me, I will stick with create new virtual disk. Next. And here I will just need to specify disk capacity or the disk size. For me, I will go with 1 GB. We can see here that I have a couple of options. For example, I have here allocate all disk space now. That means this virtual disk file on the host operating system will be 10 GB size. But for me, I like to keep it and expand it gradually based on the use of this disk. The second option, I will stick with stored virtual disk as a single file. Since the multiple file, it will drop the performance as reduce the performance of the VM. So for me, I will go with next right now. Here we will specify a disk file name. So I will stick with the default and click finish, then save. We can see here that the disk is appear here in the devices. So we can right now start the VM and start using this disk inside the operating system inside this VM. VMware Workstation does offer a cloning feature that allows you to create copies of virtual machines. Cloning virtual machine is a convenient way to replicate an existing VM setup, including its operating system, installed software, and configurations. This feature is particularly useful for tasks such as testing, development, or deploying multiple instances of the same environment. VMware Workstation offers two cloning options. The first one is linked clones, and the second one is full clones. In short, linked clones are space efficient and share virtual disk space with the parent VM, and since they are rely on the parent VM, we need to make sure that the template mode option is enabled or selected to prevent of the parent VM deletion, while full clones are independent copies of their own complete set of virtual disks. Your choice between linked clones and full clones depends on your specific requirement for disk space usage, manageability, and resilience to change in the parent VM. For me, cloning is a crucial feature. It makes my life easy, especially as a database administrator and system administrator, in case if I want to do something, so I can test it easily, and also I can create multiple operating systems just in one click. So what we need exactly here how I manage the templating and how I also treat the VM to be as a template. So first thing, I need to create a new folder to stay organized. So I will create here template. So this folder, I will treat this Pop! OS as a template, so it will be cloned. So we can see here that still it's not as this VM is not treated as a template. So we can see here that I can delete it. So to treat it as a template, we need to go to the settings, then options, advanced options, and you need to enable template mode and then save. We can see here, if I go back again to manage, we can see here that the delete from the disk is removed. So that means this VM cannot be deleted, and now we can clone it. So let's go and clone. We can see here that this virtual machine is a template. To clone it, you must create a snapshot or remove template mode. So this error indicates that this is a template and we need to create a snapshot to be able to create a clone from it. Let's cancel. Now we need to create a snapshot. Take a snapshot. I will name it fresh VM. Then hit enter. Now we'll back again to manage. Then clone. Now we can see this fresh VM snapshot is now appear here, and we can proceed. So now from here we will check and select the cloning type. For me, I prefer cloning and creating the full clone because I have enough storage space on my host. But in case if you don't have enough space, you can create a linked clone, and here's some description about what is the linked clone. Already we had the discussion about it, but here a linked clone is a reference to an original virtual machine and required less disk space to store. However, it cannot run without access to the original virtual machine. So once we pick or select that option template, it will prevent us to remove this machine, so we can create this easily. But for me, I prefer to create a full virtual machine and then go to the next. We can create it here. Name the clone. So for me, I will name it as a test, and then I will create next and finish. And the cloning process is in progress. We can see here that the cloning is done successfully. We can right now close. We can see here that we have identical copy of this VM. So we can start this VM and do anything, like for example, I need default application to be inside PopOS once I clone it to be here. So I can open it, run it, and then install some software and create another snapshot, and then clone that snapshot to another operating system to be like this, to another VM. So once I run this VM, all the application by default will be included in this VM. So I found it too much useful to speed up and boost up your work, and it will also make you easy create multiple VMs in case if you want to. VMware offers exporting feature allow you to export the VMs in OVF format and move them to another. Virtualization technology supports this type of format, such as VirtualBox, for example. So let us see how we can export VMs. We need to go ahead to VMware Workstation. Select the VM that we need to export. Then go to the File menu. Then go to the Export to OVF. Then select the location where you want to. Let's save it here in Documents. Save. Here the exporting is in progress. We need to wait until this one finished. So once the exporting of the OVF file is done and finished, we can now go to the File Explorer. Here we are on a File Explorer. We can see here that those files are created from that VM once we export it as OVF. Let's see how we can import OVF back again to the VMware Workstation. Go to the Home, open VMware, or by File, Open, and then we need to go to here, Documents, where is the OVF location, and then Open. It will tell that give a name, test2. Okay, I'm happy with this one. Now we are importing the OVF file back again to the VMware. We can see here that the VM is imported successfully from the OVF. Now we come to the fun part. Here we can see that we have a diagram, and in this diagram I just summarize the scenario that we will work on in the practical side or in the lab. So we can see here that we have two computers connected to the same subnet of the home network router. So the first one, which ends with 103, the second one which ends with 100. We can see here the first computer has VMware installed, and this VMware contains a VM which it has also a Linux operating system running with SSH service. We can see here that the network between the host and the guest VM is NAT network, and the IP of this VM is 10.10.10.130, and this subnet is not accessible from the second computer which is available on the network. So how we can expose this network, or especially let's say in other words, how we can expose this service to the network, and this PC or this laptop or this computer will be able to reach this service and access this VM. So the VMware port forwarding here comes into the play and solve this issue by telling the VM, okay, let this host listen on a specific port that is assigned by us, and once this machine or this computer try to reach this port will forward the connection to the VM. That, in other words, that means I will try to reach this computer on that port that assigned by me, and then this port will forward to the SSH, which means I will be able to reach the VM on SSH service. So this is just like a summary, and I will show you in a practical side how we can accomplish this one. I'm right now on VMware on Pop OS. We can see here that I have here the IP which is 10.10.10.130, and the SSH service is running. So I will see how we can reach this operating system from second laptop or second computer, and how we can also allow this. Before we proceed, we need just to understand the network on both computers. We have here the second one. This one is available on the network, which ends with 100. The second one, which ends with 103. This one is able to access the Pop OS operating system via the SSH service. Let's check this one. So let's access the SSH service with account admin at the IP, which is here inside, and check if we are able to reach this. The password, we can see here that we are able to reach the Pop OS. We saw that we are able to reach the Pop OS from the machine which ends with 103. Now let's try to reach it from this one. So by adding 10.10.10.130, I'm sure 100% it will not work because they are not on the same subnet, but let's try. We can see here that it's not answering. Let's cancel that. So now let's try with this IP. We can see here that we are not able to reach the SSH from this host, which is the second computer, as I showed you before in the diagram. So how we can solve this issue? How we will be able to reach the Pop OS from the second computer? So here the VMware port forwarding come into the play. So how we can achieve this? We will come to the Pop OS, to the VMware, go to the edit, virtual network editor. We need to enter the password, hit enter, and here we can see the virtual network editor opened up. So we need to make sure that we don't have port 22 is listening on the host machine. So the VMware is running on this machine, so we'll check here. So this command is netstat -anlt and then grep 22 port, and grep also if it's listening. So we can see there is no listening port on 22. So we can use this port to forward the connection from the main machine or the host to the VM. Okay, so let's go to the NAT settings, select the NAT here, and then go to the NAT settings. From the NAT settings, add from here port forwarding, add. Here we need to add the host port, which is this host. We will add 22. You can add anything else like quad or anything, but available port, not used. So I will use 22, the default one. And then you can put here the IP of the VM that you want to forward the port to. And what is the VM port? So this is such running in the Pop! OS is 22. So we need to add 22 here. Give a description. So for you can understand this port mapping, it's mapped to which service. So for me, I will add here SSH underscore Pop! OS. Okay, save, and then save, and then save. Now let's see if there is any port now listening on the host machine. We can see here that's the 22 right now listening. So now we can reach the Pop! OS from the other computer. So let's check right now. I will try to access by SSH admin, and then with the port with the IP ends with 103. We can see here that right now is answering, and right now I am on the Pop! OS from the second computer by allowing the port forwarding on the host, whereas the VMware is installed and the VM also is available there. So that's it for the port forwarding. As the video is coming to a conclusion, I would like to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks again, and I will see you all in the next video.